this nice. Hey, good morning, everybody. This is the Cancer Research Yoga Challenge, which we're all very, very generously, kindly going to have a go at. So let's just stand in a very open mountain, a nice steady mountain. And if you're feeling weak and feeble like me, I'm actually leaning against the wall. I love cheating at yoga. The nice thing about cheating at yoga is you're not actually cheating, you're just going into a different pose. So this is the mountain extended against the wall, or for those who are feeling really full of energy this morning, away from the wall. Okay, and then breathing out, let's come down into the actual Tadasana, the mountain itself. So we're standing comfortably, letting the hands just drop. We have this tendency to kind of hold our arms in. No, they won't fall off, honestly. Just drop them. Let me put some more light on me. So just drop the arms, and the feet are actually underneath the hip joint. So they're not, your feet are not necessarily standing together. Hold on, my lamp's just collapsed. Okay. Right, so this is the hip joint in here. There's a femur coming up your thigh. There's a socket, and we're putting the feet right underneath that joint, like so. Okay, dropping the arms as though you've got heavy shopping bags in your hands. And then the crown of the head lifting upwards. And if you want to see me side on, we're kind of not leaning forward or back. We're trying to be as straight up as we can from the crown of the head. Okay. So this is the mountain pose. And when you think, oh heck, I have no time for yoga, you can do this waiting for the kettle to boil, looking out the window, standing in the queue at the supermarket, because the mountain pose is about steadiness and immovability, strong, fixed, grounded. All the poses have emotional components as well as physical. The physical one for this is kind of obvious. It's about being balanced, not being knocked about. And just let's take our awareness into our feet as though our brains and minds were in our feet, and see if you're collapsing inward on the ankle so that most of the weight is on the inner part of your feet instead, or whether you're doing the opposite and collapsing outwards. Okay, and just correct. Can you see how I'm correcting the ankle joint? I can move my ankle joint until I've got basically even weight distribution through those feet. There we go. Now let's imagine the feet go deep into the earth, a few miles down, in fact, like the very core and base of a mountain. And you can imagine you're your favorite mountain for a moment. You can close the eyes and allow the breathing to settle. Tuck the tailbone under slightly. You could even pull the abdominal muscles in a little. And then if you want to be really fancy, you could pull up the base lock, Mula Bandha, which, to make it easy, it's the muscles, well, for women, it's the muscles we clench if you're peeing and you need to stop mid-pee. So you pull those up. So I've got that lock in place, the abdominal lock slightly holding. And that's about as technical as we're going to get at the moment. Steady, immovable, unshakable. And surprisingly, this is one of the most difficult yoga poses to get right because it's perfect posture. Okay, and then let's breathe in and take the arms all the way up to above the head. Again, if you're feeling a bit weak and feeble like me, you can lean against something and then stretch the arms upwards. Okay, just check you're not jutting your chin forward. Think of those neck vertebrae, there's 7 of them, and we want them comfortably resting on top of each other and not straining in the neck at all. In fact, if anything, the chin is slightly down. So this is now the extended tree. Lovely. And then I think I've had enough of that. You might have had enough of that. Coming out to, sorry, that wasn't extended retreat, that was extended mountain. Coming out to balanced mountain. The arms out. Okay, and then all the way down again. So let's just hold the hands comfortably. That pelvic level, breathe in up to the neck and breathe out, palms downwards and down. So breathe in, up, and breathe out, down. Let's slow that down because we've probably all been rushing and trying to get up, and I didn't exactly have a wild New Year's Eve, it has to be said. I was in my pajamas all day, went to bed early. There were only fireworks in my village, I missed the lot. If you had a wild New Year's Eve party, great. And happy 2023, everybody. Okay, so let's slow it down some more, breathing in. Breathe in, slow, 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 slow. Pause, breathe out. Slow, 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 slow. Let's do that one last time. Breathe in, palms upwards. Pause, breathe out. Lovely. And then, because it's a new year, let's go into the star. A nice star for New Year. So we're actually radiating with 6 limbs because we count the head and the tailbone. It's 2 extra limbs. And if you're not feeling up to it, you don't have to have the hands up. You can put them onto the hips because it's quite tiring having your hands up in the air. Again, you can close the eyes for a moment if you wish to, but just imagine radiating from about 2 fingers width below your belly button from this point along those 6 limbs. Amazing energy, like a newborn star. Lovely. And then you might notice my feet are pointing, if 12 o'clock is the front, my toes are pointing at 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock. Okay, and I'm just going to bend the knees over the toes. Okay, and I don't want to be too technical this morning, but the knee joint is actually a hinge joint. So doing weird things is actually compromising that knee joint. So in yoga, we're always trying to check that the hinge joint actually works as a hinge joint. And if it goes over the toes, we don't want it to go too far because it will start to hurt at the front of the knees. So just a little bend there and a little bend in the arms. So we've gone into the goddess pose. Okay, and if you want to, you can go a bit deeper into it, but just keep checking the knees that they're not coming into the center. They're actually going over the toes. Let's feel like goddesses this morning. And leaning against the wall again, guys. Nice pose, a pose for strength, intuition, power, and again, stability. Okay, to straighten out of that back into the star. Breathe out and down. Walk heel toe, those feet back together, and just kind of shake out those legs a bit. I hope we're doing okay so far. I'm trying to be as gentle as I can on myself, never mind all of you this morning. Okay, and then just bend a little, rub the thighs a bit. Okay, so if you've got lower back problems here, it probably means that the discs are bulging that away, so it hurts more if you bend forward. So on all the forward bends that we do, instead of going right down, how about going onto something and doing halfway and then just walking the feet back, okay? And if you think your back is fine but you're not sure, the best thing for the whole yoga challenge this January is to pull back. I'm going to come forward so you can really hear this. Pull back by 30%, really, because if you wake up tomorrow and you feel horrible, you're not going to continue. So let's pull back today by 30% so that tomorrow we feel a little bit stretched, but not, oh heck, I'm not doing any more. Okay, right. So standing back here, we're going to go into the forward bend. I'll do it sideways on. Breathing in, stretch up. Now, one of the nice things about the stretches is when you get up there, you can really open up this whole abdominal area, which has all those precious internal organs in, okay? It's got ascending colon, transverse, descending, stomach, digestive organs, small intestine. It's got so much. It's got liver, spleen, it's got kidneys at the back. All of them need much more room than you normally give them. So let's open up. Give them lots of room in there. And they're probably going, oh, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. And then keeping that long gap. This is the bottom of my rib cage here. This is my pelvis. I want that gap to stay very long. Because if I collapse it and then lean forward, well, you can imagine how unhappy those internal organs are going to be. So let's longer stretch, longer stretch, longer stretch, longer stretch. And then gently, gently breathing out. Imagine there's a beam just past my hands and I'm reaching for it. So I'm keeping that long gap in my belly. And then if you want to, you can pause at halfway, tuck the chin in, breathe. So we're doing a modified forward bend, which is a lovely yoga pose. And those of you who think, maybe I'll just see how I can go, you can go down to your knees, the hands. You should go down to your shins, ankles, feet, whatever feels good for you. Now, knees, people say, oh, do I have to keep them straight? You know, soft, gentle knees. Give them a little bit of kindness, because if you stretch them too much, you're going to pull the lower back too much and it's going to hurt. So the nice thing about yoga is it's non-competitive. I hope there'll never be something such as the Yoga Olympics. We're just doing what we can. So wherever you are in this pose, comfortably extending the belly a bit more. You can wriggle the shoulders a bit more down, open out the shoulder blades, lowering down, okay? Breathing into it. And let's see if we can actually do real yoga. We're in the pose. We're checking around our own body. What's happening? My knees trembling. I need to bend them a bit more. Have I gone down too far? Shall I just take my hands up the legs a bit? Am I doing my usual striving, struggling, you know, the kind of world we're in is very much, you know, put loads of effort in. With yoga, it's soften, soften, soften. Am I being kind to this body of mine? Okay, and the forward bends, I was explaining yesterday's session, are always about soothing and calming. They calm down the system. So this is great if you're feeling low in mood or depressed. Staying in this pose, or staying in the pose in the modified versions halfway, or even just hands on thighs, slight forward bend and tuck the chin in, and just breathing into that. Soothing, calming, quietening. And if you wanted to think, well, how long do I stay? Well, 10 seconds, 3 minutes, 3 hours technically is probably the maximum. Let's not go there. And then to come out of it, let's bend the knees. Okay, so you're almost in a squat. And then lift the head up a little. Okay, and put the hands on the knees. And then straighten the knees so the knees and thighs are doing the work in bringing us back up. Okay, so far so good. Breathing out and coming down with the hands. Okay, pause. One of the major important things is not to rush from one pose to the other unless we're doing a sequence or vinyasa, which is specially designed for that. So we're back in the mountain while we let the benefits of that forward bend be absorbed by the system. Nice, huh? Okay, and then breathing in, take the arms up again, but this time hands together. You can have them high or you can have them low, around the head. And then on the out breath, just bring them down to the heart. Breathe in and breathe out, we're coming down. So a lot of people said they had things like fibromyalgia. They had, like me, they're feeling a bit ill, they don't have a lot of energy. So let's just not do too many standing poses today. Let's not be too ambitious. So we'll come down to kneeling. If kneeling is horrible, then there's various ways you can work with that. You can have a stool, you can have blocks, and you can kind of sit on those and do modified kneeling. Or when we get to kneeling, you can think below that for a lark. I'm actually not kneeling at all, my knees hurt, which would be the right yoga response. Okay, so here we are kneeling at the moment. You can also roll up a blanket and stuff them underneath your ankles. That really takes pressure off here. And you can put a blanket or cushions there. You can also go to upright kneeling. So I think you're getting the message. You don't have to do things that hurt. So pausing for a moment, either upright or hands on thighs, pausing, elbows underneath the shoulder joint. Close the eyes for a moment. Okay, and then what I'd like you to do from there is I'd like you to comfortably find some kind of seated pose. And if you have a block or a cushion, you could just sit on the edge of that. So it's a little bit more comfy. I'm doing fine. Okay, I just want to do some gentle side stretches. I'd like to get on the left side, I'd like to open up that spleen a bit and the kidney, and then the same kidney here and the digestive organs, just to get some energy actually flowing through. So if you don't like sitting cross-legged, sit with the legs forward, sit up on blocks, make it easy. So left hand up, slide your right hand away, and let's go and stretch right over. Technically even seat. So your pelvis is not leaning too much, technically. Okay, and then you could even get your forearm on that right arm down onto the floor. But you can see I'm actually not doing very even seat here. I'm doing my best. But I have got a lovely long stretch here on the left side. And let's breathe into the pose. Arm coming over the head, that left arm. And if you wanted to, you could look up through your left elbow up at the ceiling. Keep pushing that left sitting bone down onto the ground. Extending through the left armpit, very good for the lymphatic system that's running through that left armpit. Breathing into it. So nice. Wonderful pose. And I was saying yesterday, it's a bit like acupuncture. When you're lying on the table and you've got all the needles in, you actually let go and let it happen. So here we are in the pose. Let's stop struggling and striving and just let it be. Let it do its magic. Okay, and then when you feel like you've had enough, the easiest way to come out of this would be to drop the hand forward and push with both hands to come up. Okay, I hope you're doing all right, guys. And let's do the other side. You always have to do the other side if you've done one side. So this time I want your left hand down on the ground, the right hand up. Let's stretch. So you can almost feel the right side of the body going, oh, I'm looking forward to this. My turn. And then over we go, over we go, over we go, over we go, over we go. So if that's fine for you just there, stay there. Hallelujah. If you think, actually, you know what, maybe I'll go a little bit further, have a little go. But remember, the most important thing is listening to your body and doing just what you feel able to do. And then again, you could look up through your right elbow and bring that right hand down closer to the ground, which will extenuate, can't think. Deepen the stretch, lengthen the stretch on that right side. See if you can really feel your rib cage moving well away from your pelvis. And then we do the bit where we let the pose work on us. Trying to get out of the way in a sense. Breathing into it. Breathing into it. Lovely. Okay, and then if you've had enough, you're already out of the pose. If you're staying hanging around, let's come out of it either by dropping that right hand to the floor and pushing, or just using your left hand to come up. Open the hands out again. Let's lift. Let's see if we can take those hands, palms together as high as possible. Even let the shoulders up. Okay, and then breathing out. And down. Brilliant, well done. And we're going to do a little twist. So in yoga, we're trying to do forward bends, backward bends, twists, side to side stretches. We're working through the central column, the spinal column, and in yoga, the Sushumna column. We're making sure that everything is, it's almost like you're fine-tuning, trying to fine-tune through the system. So that not only you feel physically better, but you come out of the session feeling, ooh, that's nice, that's nice. Okay, so our little twist today, let's do an easy one. I've got my legs straight. Okay, those are my toes, which have my socks on because my feet's cold. Take your left hand up. Take your left hand to the outside of your right knee. Okay, right hand. Take it round the back. Okay, so when you're round the back, you're going, okay, Sarah, what is happening around the back? When you go around the back, you've got choices. You can put it on a block there if you like. But basically, it's a staff to try and hold the spine straight. So we've got left hand to outside of right knee. And we've got right hand around the back, pushing. Can you see? I don't want to collapse. So pushing straight. And then we breathe in and we lift the crown of the head upwards, but we don't take the chin up. Okay, because we don't want to compromise the back of the neck here and those neck vertebrae, because they're quite fragile. Okay, breathe out. And then breathe in again, lengthen. And this time, breathing out, start to twist from about the belly area round to the right. Breathe in, lengthen. Breathe out, twist some more to the right. Breathe in, lengthen. Breathe out, twist some more. So you just keep doing that, little tiny movements. They're getting smaller as we get to maximum twist. And then see if you can relax that left hand. And carefully, you're not taking the chin up into the heavens, okay? Think of those fragile, delicate 7 neck vertebrae. You just want them delicately positioned and looked after. When we look behind, we're trying to look past that right shoulder. And keep, on the in-breath, lifting up from the crown so we don't squash those internal organs in the belly. And then let the pose do its work on us, relaxing into it without flopping down. Just being in the pose, this gentle twist. And if you're of a curious disposition, you might like to take the mind's awareness into the belly area. You might be able to feel how the transverse colon just underneath the diaphragm is actually stretching. And your left kidney is definitely stretching. Or you can just be aware of the in-breath, lengthening up from the crown, the out-breath, going a little bit more. Okay, and just check, are you doing too much or did you sensibly pull back a little? You might be one of those overachievers, which was a bit like me. Okay, breathing out, coming around back to the front. Let's just rotate the wrists a bit, lubricate those joints. Sends a very strong signal to the brain. Please actually send some more synovial fluid into my wrist joints because they do tend to stiffen up quite quickly. Thank you. Lovely. And then, of course, we have to do the other side. So if you want, you can be sitting on a block. That's always good. Why does Sarah say sit on the block? Because sometimes if I don't, the pelvis is actually tipping backwards, which puts my spine out of alignment. So we don't use blocks because we're useless. We use blocks because we're trying to get even deeper and better poses. Okay, just to correct things and make the pose just mwah. Okay, so we'll remember what we're doing now. Right hand goes to the outside of left knee. Left hand comes around the back. I'm going to position it on that block. Okay. And then, oh, for women, you might find that you're jamming up against your chest. Okay. So just move the chest over to the left and tuck that right upper arm behind it. Okay. And then breathe in, lengthening from the crown. Lovely. Breathe out. We're turning to the left. Breathe in, lengthening from the crown. Breathe out, turning to the left. Breathe in, lengthening up, really thinking of that lower part of the rib cage away from the hips. Breathe out, turning. Just keep doing that. Drop the shoulders a little though. Don't keep the shoulders. They tend to creep up towards the ears. And drop the tongue to the base of the mouth. It might be getting stuck on the roof of your mouth, if you can. And breathing into it, letting the pose change the energy in your system. Again, if you're curious, you can have a little feel around mentally, an inner awareness of your internal organs, your spine, your shoulders, your neck. Or simply stay resting on awareness of the breath and that rhythm of breathing in, lifting from the crown. Breathing out, not collapsing, but turning a little bit more. Beautiful, wonderful twist. The twists are very lovely for opening energy blocks. And it's almost like your internal organs get very happy. Thank you very much. They go, that was very nice. Okay, and then breathing out. Coming back to the front to try and do an even amount of time on both sides. We're coming up to the half hour. So I just want to make sure we did a forward bend. We didn't do a back arch. So let's do a nice easy back arch. Yeah, let's do an easy one. So let's come down to lying down and bring your heels close up to your pelvis. Oh, lying down is so nice. Okay. For the moment, your hands are palms downwards by the hips, arms straight, chin into the chest a little, back of the neck nice and open. And in a class, we'd actually rest here for a moment, letting the benefits of the previous pose work be absorbed by the body, by the emotional level, the mind. You know what? I'm not rushing on. I'm not rushing on. That would be bad. And let's just absorb those benefits for a minute. Aware of the body being breathed. Check those shoulders that they're not doing their usual tensing up business. Okay, and then we'll do this back arch work. So back arches are very invigorating. They create energy. So we try not to do them at night time so much, because then it's harder to go to sleep. They're great in the morning for perking us up. So let's take the awareness to the feet. Feel those feet, the soles of the feet on the ground. Okay, just push through them a little. See that? We're going to do more of that in a minute. Okay. Then the pelvis, could you tilt the pelvis away from you? So your back just arches a little, there's a little gap between your mid-back and the floor. And then on the in-breath, I'd like you to pull the pelvis towards you, tuck the chin into the chest, lift the pelvis, push through the feet, and take the arms up and behind, arms upwards. And if you're going, hey, Sarah, that was all a bit fast. I'm sorry, we'll do it again. So breathing out, coming down, arms coming down. As the pelvis comes down, back comes down, push the pelvis away. So second go, push through the feet, bring the pelvis towards you, breathing in, lift the pelvis up, keep the thighs parallel, arms go behind you, palms upwards, lift that pelvis using whatever strength you have in your back, abdominal area, chin towards the chest. You probably noticed that it rolled up to the heavens. So you want the back of the neck nice and long. Okay, and we're taking a few breaths there while everybody sorts out where they are. And then breathing out, we try to take one vertebra at a time down to the floor from the top, and the hands and arms are in sync with that. So it's quite a long out breath, and then push the pelvis away. Okay, so third time, I've probably got the hang of this a bit more. Push through the feet, lift the pelvis up, thighs parallel, arms behind, arms upwards, lift the pelvis some more, chin into the chest. And let's just stay a little, unless that's feeling totally agony, in which case come down. Let's just stay there a little. Do a few checks, chin to chest check. Shoulders relax, let them go. Face relaxed. Let it go. Eyes parallel. Even weight distribution through the feet. So you might need to adjust the ankle. Breathing into it. Gentle, gentle back arch. I call this the bridge pose. One of my favourites. Do it in bed, actually. First thing in the morning. Okay, and then breathing out again, let's take those vertebrae down nice and slow and steady onto the ground, hands following, looking the chin in more towards the chest. And let's take the knees out wide if you can and bring the soles of the feet together into the lying down cobbler pose. And those arms can either rest arms upwards, out about a foot from the hips, or you can clasp them behind the head and just let go. So this pose is lovely. I love to do it in the summer in a field of wildflowers, watching the clouds just drifting by. Breathing into that, letting go. And possibly, like, maybe some of you will be real expert yogis, so I'm probably annoying you, telling you what you already know. And some of you will be new. So one of the things I didn't understand when I first started yoga, I was 9 at the time, was that this real sense of letting go into the pose, as we are doing now. We're not struggling or striving at this point. Well, it's almost like we're giving over to the pose, trusting the pose, letting it do its wonderful deep work. And now we are running out of time, so if you want to stay there and ignore me, do, because it's a wonderful deep relaxation as well. To finish, straighten the legs, take them about 2 or 3 feet apart and let the toes go outwards. Okay, take the arms by the sides, palms upwards, tuck the chin in again, and we're in the corpse pose, Shavasana. And technically, in a class, I'd leave you there for 5, 7, 10 minutes, just letting the system absorb the benefits. So if you want to stay there, do. But we're right on time, more or less. So those of you who've got things to do, you can come out of this, bend the knees, roll over to one side and come up. Okay. Oh, we've got a little child. Hello, little child. Wee, woo. Right, I must stop the recording.